My parents sold my car to pay my brother's DUI fines, so I called the cops, got him arrested, and watched their reactions from my new apartment. I'm a 24-year-old guy, and I've always been the afterthought in my own family, not the golden child. Not the rebel, just the one who blended into the wallpaper while everyone else took center stage. My older brother, Ryan. He was the chosen one from day one. Straight C student, constant screw-ups, but somehow always just misunderstood. My mom doted on him like he walked on water, and my dad. He kept his mouth shut and wrote the checks, me. I kept my head down. Got decent grades. Took 2 part-time jobs after high school, one stocking shelves at a grocery store, the other unloading trucks in the freezing cold at a warehouse. Every dollar went into a separate account. I never touched it. Not for clothes, not for parties, not even for coffee. That account had one purpose: my first car. For 4 years, I saved like my life depended on it. Because in a way, it did. That car was more than wheels. It was freedom, escape. Proof that I could build something on my own without their help or approval. Last month, I finally made it. Got promoted at work to assistant supervisor. The raise wasn't huge, but it was mine. I signed the papers, paid cash, and brought home a used Civic that ran smoother than anything I'd ever touched. I washed it every weekend. I parked it far from carts at the grocery store. It was mine, not a hand-me-down, not a favor mine. For the first time, I felt like maybe, just maybe, I was catching up to the life Ryan always had handed to him. I wasn't bitter. I was just proud. Then the phone rang. It was my mom, and the way she said, "We need to talk about the car," made my stomach turn cold. I named her Lexi. I know that sounds stupid, but after 4 years of breaking my back to afford her, she deserved a name. Midnight blue, barely a dent, low mileage, leather seats that still had that faint new car smell. I cleaned her twice a week, inside and out. Even bought one of those tiny pine tree air fresheners that dangled from the mirror. She was the one thing in my life that didn't feel secondhand. The first time Ryan saw her, he snorted. "You named your car," he said, laughing like I'd just announced I still slept with a teddy bear. Jesus, man. You're such a dork. I just smiled and shrugged. I wasn't about to let him ruin something that made me proud. But deep down, I didn't trust him near her. Not after everything. Ryan had wrecked 2 cars already. One he totaled during a late-night donut session in a church parking lot. The other got impounded after he left it parked halfway up a sidewalk during a bar crawl. He always had an excuse. The weather? The brakes. A pothole came out of nowhere. My mom always waved it off. He's young. Boys make mistakes. My dad said nothing. Always nothing, but I saw it for what it was. Entitlement wrapped in excuses. Still, I kept my head down. Took my car to work. Picked up groceries. Drove to the gym, blasting music and singing like no one could hear me. Lexi became my sanctuary. Then one Saturday night, I got a text from a friend who worked at the hospital. Just 3 words. "Your brother's here." Ryan had crashed again. DUI this time. Blood alcohol through the roof. Some poor guy on a bike had to dive into a ditch to avoid him. No one was seriously hurt, thank God. But the damage was done. He was looking at thousands in fines, possible jail time, and court-mandated rehab. And my parents. Well, they already had a plan. I came home that weekend just to grab a few things, some clothes, my toolbox, and check on Lexi. I'd left her parked in the driveway 2 nights before. Freshly washed, gas tank full. But when I pulled up, the driveway was empty. I figured maybe Dad had moved her into the garage for some reason, though he never touched my stuff. But when I opened the garage door, nothing. Just lawn chairs, an old treadmill, and silence. I walked into the kitchen, trying to keep my voice steady. "Hey, where's my car?" My mom barely looked up from the sink. "Oh, it's at the shop. Something about the brakes. Your dad took it in this morning. That made no sense. I just replaced the pads last month. And Dad never offered to do errands for me ever." "Which shop?" I asked. She hesitated, then said, "The one near the freeway." Her voice had that overly casual tone she used when she was lying. I turned to my dad, who was sitting in his usual chair, thumbing through a newspaper like it was 1997. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Sometimes we all have to make sacrifices for family," he muttered. My stomach dropped. Something wasn't right. That night, I ran into Mr. Collins from 2 doors down. We chatted about nothing until he said, "Didn't know your brother was back on the road already. Saw him driving your car last night. Looks like he got it cleaned up nice." I just stared at him, my mouth dry. When I got back inside, I didn't ask this time. I demanded, "Where is my car?" My mom's face tightened. We didn't have a choice. Dad still wouldn't look up, and Ryan. He walked into the room at that exact moment, tossing my keys onto the counter like they were spare change. That's when I knew. They didn't just lie. They gave it to him. My hands were shaking. "You gave him my car?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. My mom folded her arms, her chin lifting like she was the one wronged. "We didn't give it to him. We sold it. Used the money to help cover his legal fees." The room spun. "You what?" "It was the only option," she snapped. "You weren't using it this week?" Ryan needed help. Family helps family. Are you hearing yourself? I said, my voice rising. I worked for 4 years to buy that car. For years of double shifts, skipped meals, walking in the rain because I refused to touch that savings account. And you sold it like it was a spare toaster. My dad muttered, "We had to protect him." The lawyer said, "I cut him off." You protected a grown man who drove drunk, who could have killed someone. And you punished me for being responsible. My mom's eyes welled with tears. "You're overreacting. It's just a car." "No," I snapped. "It's never just a car. It was mine. The one thing I did for myself. The one thing I was proud of." She turned away, wiping her eyes like I'd just hit her. "I can't believe how selfish you're being. You always make everything about you." And then Ryan. That smug bastard just chuckled. "Relax, dude. She drove better than mine anyway. You should thank me for putting her to real use." That was it. I grabbed my backpack, my charger, my jacket from the hall closet, and walked out the door without another word. As I stepped onto the sidewalk, I heard my mom behind me, calling my name, her voice cracking like I was the one abandoning them. But I didn't turn around, because in that moment, something inside me broke and I knew it wasn't coming back. I went silent. No texts, no calls, no explanations. I blocked my parents, blocked Ryan, and moved in with a friend from work who had a spare couch. My phone lit up every day with voicemails, some angry, some guilt-ridden. Most from my mom crying about how family sticks together. I didn't listen to a single one, because this wasn't just about Lexi. This was about years of being invisible. Years of being the backup plan, the second choice. The one who never needed anything, so they gave him everything. My friends tried to lift me up. They brought food, beer, stupid jokes. But at night, when the house got quiet, I'd sit on that couch with a knot in my chest that wouldn't untangle. That car was the only thing I'd ever built for myself. And they sold it like I was just collateral. I started documenting things, every message they sent me. The bank statements from the month the car was sold. Texts from Ryan bragging about how everything always works out for him. something in my gut told me this wasn't over at work. I was quieter than usual. My boss, Sharon, pulled me into her office. "You've been off lately," she said gently. "Take a few days. Clear your head. You've earned it." I nodded, grateful for the out. That night, I got a message from someone I hadn't heard from in months. A guy I knew from high school who now worked at the DMV. "Hey," he wrote. "Random, but didn't you used to drive a midnight blue Civic?" My heart stopped because someone filed title paperwork on that car last week. And your name wasn't removed. Eli's message sat there on my screen, glowing like a match in the dark. Your name's still on the title, man. And get this, wasn't even processed through a legit dealer. Someone hand-filed a transfer. Messy too. The signatures don't match. I felt my pulse in my throat. "What do you mean the signatures don't match?" I typed back. A moment later, he replied with a blurry photo of the transfer slip. My name scribbled in a half-assed scrawl that looked nothing like my handwriting. And beneath Itrian's name, in ink, I'd bet my life he held himself. They didn't just lie to me. They forged my signature. They committed fraud. I wasn't angry. Not yet. That came after. At first, I just sat there, numb, rereading the image like my brain needed time to accept it was real. They hadn't sold the car legally. They'd taken it like it was theirs to give, and I was still the legal owner. I spent the next 2 hours pulling everything together: bank statements, texts, photos of me with the car, screenshots of Ryan's Instagram where he was proudly posing next to it with some caption like, "Back on the road, baby." But it didn't stop there. I checked public court records. Ryan's DUI case, still open. Turns out the fine hadn't even been fully paid, only partially settled. Which meant not only had they forged the paperwork, they hadn't even done it to actually fix things. They did it to dodge consequences. That's when something in me shifted. I'd spent my whole life being the quiet one, the understanding one, the bigger person. But this time, I wasn't going to let it slide. If they wanted to treat me like I didn't exist, then they wouldn't see me coming. I called the non-emergency line first, kept it calm, vague. "Hi, I think I'm the legal owner of a vehicle that's been fraudulently transferred without my consent. I have documentation, title paperwork, forged signatures, account withdrawals, and I know where the vehicle is right now." They asked if I wanted to come in and file a formal report. I told them I'd rather do it anonymously for nows to get the process started. And I made sure they understood this wasn't just a family dispute. It was criminal. I emailed everything. The forged title slip, screenshots of texts, a PDF of the bank activity showing money withdrawn right before the sale, even photos of Lexi in Ryan's driveway, license plate and all. Then I waited, but not passively. On Instagram, I posted pictures of coffee shops, city skylines, a grateful for the grind selfie in front of my apartment window. Made it look like I was thriving, healing, moving on. I wanted them to think I was over it, that I'd accepted it. And of course, Ryan took the bait. One night, I got a text from him. "Hope you're doing okay, little bro. Took Lexi on a road trip this weekend. She's loving the highway. Thanks again." My jaw clenched so tight I thought my teeth might crack. That same day, saw his Instagram story, him and a couple of buddies at some beach house 2 towns over. Lexi parked out front, gleaming under the porch light like a trophy he didn't earn, so I called the officer I'd spoken to. Told him he'll be there all weekend, car included. "If you want a clean takedown without the family around, now's your shot." The cop paused, then said, "Thanks. We'll handle it." And just like that, the trap was set. All I had to do was wait for it to snap. It was surreal, watching it happen from the same window I used to stare out of when I felt like I didn't belong. My new apartment sat on a hill just a few blocks from the family neighborhood, close enough to see, but far enough to breathe. I stood there, coffee in hand, heart pounding and slow. Steady thumps, Lexi rolled into the driveway right on cue. Ryan hopped out, laughing with some girl in the passenger seat, completely unaware of what was about to hit him. Then came the flashing lights. 2 patrol cars. No sirens, just quiet urgency. Officers stepped out, hands on their belts, and approached. Ryan's smile dropped. I couldn't hear everything, but I didn't need to. I saw the moment they asked for ID, saw him puff up his chest, waving his arms. Then I read his lips clear as day. This is my car. One of the officers held up a clipboard, my paperwork. My name, my signature. The forgery. Ryan tried to argue, arms flailing like he could spin a better lie in real time. That's when the front door flung open. My mom bolted down the steps in slippers, screaming his name like he was being dragged to war. I saw her grab one of the cops by the arm, pointing at Ryan, then at Lexi. Then back toward the house like she could somehow undo what had already been set in motion. They cuffed him gently, but firmly. Ryan turned red with rage. The girl in the car looked like she wanted to disappear. I stood behind the curtain, breathing in the silence. Not joy, not revenge, just clarity. Justice doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's just watching the truth unfold, one consequence at a time. Ryan spent the night in jail. The official charges: DUI violation, fraudulent transfer of property, and operating a vehicle under false ownership. I didn't even know that last one existed until the officer read it to me over the phone. I expected the rage texts. I didn't expect how fast they came. My mom left 7 voicemails in 1 hour, sobbing, accusing, bargaining. "You've destroyed this family," she cried. "How could you turn on your own brother like that? What kind of son does this?" My dad sent a single message: "You've made your point. Now fix it." No apology. No ownership. Just pressure. Just like always. I didn't respond. Not one word. Instead, I filed the final report with the county clerk. Sent a notarized letter confirming I was pursuing charges. Updated my mailing address. Changed my phone number. Got a new lock on my apartment door, even though they'd never been there. And then I sat down, in the quiet of my small, clean rented space, and opened a brand new bank account. No shared access. No co-signers. Just me. It should have felt like peace, and in some ways, it did. I started going for walks again. Slept through the night without waking up in a cold sweat. Even made a vision board like some cheesy self-help article told me to do. But there was still this ache right under my ribs. Not regret. Not guilt. Just HEAVINESS. I didn't miss them. But I missed the version of them I used to hope existed. The family I thought I could earn if I just worked hard enough, stayed quiet long enough, proved I was worth loving. And now that fantasy was gone, all that was left was me, and I couldn't help but wonder, was burning the bridge enough? Or did something inside me burn with it? It was almost midnight when my old phone, now used only for checking voicemails, lit up with a notification. One new message. My mom's voice. I didn't press play right away. I just stared at the blinking icon like it might blink itself out of existence. But eventually, I sat on the floor, headphones in, and hit play. Her voice cracked from the first word. "Please, please, call me back." She was crying. Not the kind of crying you fake to guilt someone, real crying. Ryan lost his job. He can't afford a lawyer. They're talking about a plea deal, jail time, and we don't know what to do. She sniffled hard. "I know you're hurt. I know we messed up. But you're his brother. You have to help him. Please. Do the right thing. Don't let him ruin his life." There was a long silence before the line cut off. I sat there for a full minute. Then I played it again, once, and then I deleted it. The next morning, I printed the last of the DMV forms: title, revocation, fraud report confirmation, all the pieces I'd been waiting on. I signed my name carefully, pressed the pen hard enough to leave an indent dot at the post office. I slipped the envelope into the slot and exhaled like I'd been holding my breath for months. On the way home, I stopped at a gas station, bought a new prepaid SIM card, and changed my number for the second and final dash time. No more openings. No more ways in. They could scream, cry, beg. But they'd be screaming into silence now. That message. That was the last piece of them I let touch me. And this was my final goodbye. Healing didn't come all at once. It crept in quietly, one photo frame at a time. One lamp, one throw pillow I never would have picked before, but that somehow made the space feel like mine. I stopped trying to make things look neutral or acceptable. I just made them feel right. I found a therapist online and booked a session. Then another, and another. It felt weird at first talking out loud about things I'd trained myself to bury. But week by week, started untangling knots I didn't even know were there. And then there was Lily. We met at a bookstore. Cliché as hell. I know. She asked if I'd read the novel in her hand. We talked. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner in 2 weekends. And for the first time, I was with someone who didn't mock my routines or my dreams. She didn't think naming a car was weird. She thought it was sweet. One morning, I sat down with a bank rep, palms sweaty, and applied for a new car loan. When they said approved, I didn't cry. But my hands wouldn't stop shaking. 3 weeks later, I drove off the lot in a used sit-in-on flashy, but reliable mine. No one's name on the title but mine. I hit the highway that weekend. Windows down, music up, singing until my throat hurt. Not to run from anything, just to feel the wind. I wasn't just free, I was chosen, not by a family that never saw me, but by the one person who finally did it. Took me months to even consider writing the post. Not because I was afraid, because I wasn't angry anymore. Not the way I used to be. The rage had burned itself out. What was left behind felt quieter. Not forgiveness, exactly. More like closure knocking gently at the door. So one night, I opened my laptop, logged onto Reddit, and started typing. I told everything: how I'd worked 2 jobs to buy that car, how they lied to my face, how they forged my name and gave my freedom away like it was a pawn ticket, how I stayed quiet until I realized being quiet was just another way of saying, you can hurt me again. I attached screenshots, photos of the forged transfer, the voicemail my mother left, begging me to do the right thing. I uploaded the DMV letter confirming my title revocation, receipts, dates, all of it. Not to ruin them, but to reclaim the truth. I ended the post with one line: they took my car to protect him from consequences. I used it to teach them accountability. I went to sleep without checking the comments. By morning, the post had blown up. Thousands of upvotes. People from every corner of the internet, strangers leaving. Messages that made something in my chest loosen. You did the right thing. This hit too close to home. Thank you for standing up. For yourself. For people like us, some even demed me their own stories. Stories about being the forgotten child. The responsible one. The one who always got hurt for being too good. I didn't reply to many of them. Just sat there and let the solidarity wash over me. That post wasn't revenge. It was release, and as I closed the laptop, I felt something I hadn't in years. Lighter because I hadn't just walked away from them. I'd walked toward me, and, for once, I was enough.